senior high. Even parang clerk typist lang, receptionist lang, must be college graduate. This has to be changed. Na parang agad-agad, discriminated agad yung mga graduates sa senior high. Pero palagi na lang talaga, maski na yung typist lang, clerk typist, you must be a college graduate. Pag pumunta ka sa Amerika, there's no such thing na must be a college graduate. Sinasabi ka diretso kung ano yung requirement, ano yung responsibilities, ano yung experience na kailangan. Hindi naka-specify doon kung kailangan mo college graduate o hindi. Maliban na lang kung ikaw engineer, architect, or nurse. Well, of course, nakalagay doon must have license in nursing, etc. Di ba? Yun yung sinasabi ko. Kung mapapansin niyo po, so therefore, 10% lang ang nakapagtrabaho ng mga senior high after graduation. Wow! So, marami sa kanila, it's either hindi natatanggap, so dumidiretso sa college or pupunta pa sa TESDA. So bakit pa tayo meron K-12? What is the reason why we still have this K-12? Di ba? Para after graduate nila sa senior high, magkakaroon sila employment, makakatulong sa kanilang family, etc. etc. Dito pala, pag nag-K-12 ka, only 10% of you guys that will graduate this year will get a job. And what is the DepEd doing about this?
Para malaman, marami pong vacancies for senior high.
Okay nga, ma'am. So, meron kayong ganong klaseng programa which is very good.
Po.
So, meron kayong for senior high job openings. Sabi nyo nga, 116 were hired. What happened to those that weren't hired?
Iba po kasing qualifications kailangan college graduate.
Okay.
Yung dun sa vacancies, kaya hindi sila na-hire.
I thought you said yung program ninyo, yung naghahanap kayo ng mga applicants for
Opo.
high school, for senior high graduates.
Marami po for senior high graduates, but meron ding mga vacancies na for college.
Why don't you come up with a program exclusive lamang dun sa mga senior high graduates? How's that? To encourage companies na mag-hire ng mga senior high graduates na para mapakinabangan naman, hindi naman masayang yung mga graduates na ito na magkakaroon agad ng trabaho diretso after graduation. Like I said, 10% lamang ayon sa DepEd ang nagkakatrabaho. Whereas sa Amerika, kung titingnan niyo po yung mga classified sa Amerika, wala akong nakalagay doon must be college graduate. Wala. Dito lang sa atin sa Pilipinas kahit na typist lang, kahit na receptionist lang, must be college graduate. Hindi nga. Kung ikaw senior high, wala, matiturn off ka. So ang ginagawa ng iba, magte-TESDA muna. O dili kaya, aakyat sa koleyo. O diba, ano pang purpose na ba't meron pa tayong K-12?
We now recognize our dear colleague, Senator Raffy Tulfo. Sir, you're recognized.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Majority Floor Leader, Senator Joel Villanueva, Senator Gatchalian. Good morning to all our distinguished guests and resource persons. Isang karapatang pangtao po ang pagkakaroon ng trabaho. Mr. Chair, ang trabaho ay pinanggagalingan ng dignidad at respeto ng isang tao. Samantalang taong walang trabaho ay miserable. Work goes into the very core of what makes us decent people. And so, here in the Senate, pursuant to our constitutional mandate, we continue to find ways to equip our people with the right tools toward being effective members of the workforce. In academic year 2016 to 2017, the Department of Education began to implement the K-12 Senior High School Manual of Operations. This is the aspect of the K-12 program where the senior high school graduates are given education and training sufficient for 4 potential exit points. Number 1, employment. Number 2, entrepreneurship. Number 3, middle-level skills development. And number 4, higher education. So much research, study, public funds, and hard work went into the implementation of the K-12 program. And while some are getting impatient on the promised results of employment opportunity for our senior high school graduates, I believe that we should first try to support what has been started instead of having a knee-jerk reaction of abruptly terminating its implementation. Para matulungan po ang K-12 program, kailangan po natin munang aminin sa ating mga sarili ang problemang kinakaharap po nito. Sa totoo po, hirap po makapasok sa trabaho ang ating mga senior high graduates. We promise them employability in a level above that of the usual high school graduate because the senior high program is supposed to provide them with skills and education that would meet the needs of the industry. Unfortunately, if you look at the job ads here in the Philippines, even government ads, the priority is still the hiring of college graduates. There is discrimination of K-12 senior high graduates contrary to the spirit and wisdom of the existing law. Companies hiring K-12 graduates are predominantly from sectors such as construction, food and beverage services, BPO, and food processing. According to a study conducted by the Philippine Business for Education, only about 20% of 70 leading companies across all sectors in the country were inclined to hire senior high graduates. The problem is that there is a disconnect between our educational curriculum, particularly in senior high, and actual industry needs which may be addressed through enterprise-based training program, which is what the present bill is all about. But I propose that the enterprise-based training program must be integrated as early as in the senior high curriculum. This makes senior high graduates job ready. Our senior high students must have already an apprenticeship program that will count as experience for them to immediately enter the workforce after graduation. Ang aking pong suggestion, Mr. Chair, tulad po ng ginagawa pag sa mga college courses, sa last semester ng senior high, sila po ay pupunta sa isang tinatawag na on-the-job training sa company o sa field na gusto nilang papasukin. And after makapagbuo sila ng kanilang several hours required, then when they graduate, sila po ay meron na agad trabaho sapagkat sila po ay nasanay na doon sa kumpanya na kung saan sila nag-on-the-job training, na alam na nila yung mga pasikot-sikot doon. And siguro po, doon sa mga company na mag-hire doon sa mga graduate ng senior high, bibigyan ng incentive. Instead na sa present bill na we have suggesting 75%, makatipid ng 25% ang employer, ang aking pong suggestion, full pay. Kasi nga po, nakapag-OJT na sila during their senior high last SEM, so dapat full pay na po sila kasi inaasahan po ng mga magulang yan dahil after makapag-graduate sa high school, yun ang iniisip ng mga parents na makapagtrabaho at makatulong. So full pay with all the benefits. Then upon graduation, they should be able to continue their training program, but compensation should no longer be limited to 75% of the minimum wage. There must be a mechanism so that the EBET program will not be abused to circumvent security of tenure and the workers' right to proper and reasonable wages. Hindi dapat ito magamit na parang kapalit ng in-endo scheme ng mga kumpanya. We must clarify the labor standards of the EBET program. And to further encourage employment of senior high graduates and the implementation of this EBET program, we may provide more than just tax incentives. We could also provide recognition awards to participating enterprises and incentives from LGUs for hiring local senior high graduates. Mr. Chair, I fully support this bill dahil ang batas na makapagbibigay ng trabaho at makatarungan na sweldo sa ating mga kababayan ay pangmatagalan na solusyon sa napakaraming problema na kinakaharap nila sa araw-araw. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will reserve my questions regarding this bill later.
Thank you, Senator Tulfo. Yes, Senator Raffy, please.
With the indulgence of Senator Win, yung pinag-usapan kasi natin ngayon, correct me if I'm wrong, yung apprenticeship is after na mag-graduate sa senior high. Is that right, Yusek Torres? After na mag-graduate sa senior high, mag-apprentice sila doon sa mga company selected or participating company. Not necessarily.
It can be a choice. It can be a choice.
My
yes.
suggestion
Yes.
really, look at this, Yusek, kung pwede to. Ang suggestion kanina, sinabi ko, dapat habang nag-aaral sila sa senior high, maglaan ng ilang period, let's say 6 months before graduation, sila ay mag-apprentice sa isang company, chosen company, participating company, na pupunta sila doon and bibigyan silang konting allowance while training para after graduation, kukunin sila ng company na yun, magkakaroon sila ng guaranteed employment kasi sanay na sila doon sa patakaran, sistema ng company na yun. They'll be hired as full-time employees na. Hindi na kailan pa i-train kasi yung training period nila, doon pa habang nag-aaral sila. So they will receive full payment, at least minimum wage, and then at the same time full benefits. How's that?
Can be studied, Your Honor, and we can discuss this also with DepEd.
Isn't it? It's also happening right now. I mean, for example, Monarch. I remember Monarch is already committed to conduct trainings for senior high school students, and then they will. I'm not sure if that's happening right now. Is there anyone here who can attest to that, Your Honor?
Your Honor, Monarch is also a partner of TESDA in this dual training system.
Let me be more specific. Yung sinasabi ni Senator Raffy, senior high ka na, hindi ka pa gumraduate, you're still in senior high school, but you can actually do or part of your program when you choose the TVL track or whatever track you choose, pwede ka nang dumiretso dun sa company and pwede kang mag-apprentice. Nagagawa na ba ngayon? Yes, ma'am, please.
Yes, Your Honor. Just some information po. With regard to the requirement of our senior highs, it is called the work immersion, which is equivalent to 80 hours. Just 80 hours of being immersed in the actual work. But that's part of the requirement po for the completion of the senior high curriculum.
So, when they're doing that, work immersion ang tawag, nasa senior high sila, di ba?
Yes po.
When they graduate, or during the time when they are doing work immersion, are they being are they getting allowances or anything? No.
I'm not so sure, Your Honor, but as far as I know, because my granddaughter also went through the program, and the work immersion, there's no allowance being provided for.
But then after the work immersion, yung binabanggit ni Sen. Raffy, nakakatuloy-tuloy ba sila na to be employed in that particular workplace where they are doing the work immersion?
No po. It's not always the case, Your Honor. Probably that would be between the agreement and the discretion of the employer.
One last thing, no, before I give it back to Senator Raffy. Yung work immersion, how long is that?
80 hours, Your Honor.
80 hours. Okay.
Director, instead of 80 hours, ba't hindi natin habaan? Sabihin natin na maski wala ng allowance, with the guarantee na once nag-graduate na yung estudyante, nakatapos na siya doon sa work immersion, let's say 150 hours or 200 hours, then he or she is guaranteed employment in that company. And then that company will receive incentives from the government, tax break, etc. How's that? Para lang sa ganyan. Kasi karamihan, ito nga yung kultura natin dito ngayon, Mr. Chair, which we have to correct through legislation. Perhaps, I don't know, lahat ng mga sa classified ads na naghahanap ng employee, palaging, almost always, must be college graduate. Dinidisregard na agad yung mga graduate ng senior high. Even parang clerk typist lang, receptionist lang, must be college graduate. This has to be changed. Na parang agad-agad, discriminated agad itong mga graduates sa senior high.
Yes, Your Honor, we understand the wisdom of the good senator, but this is within the purview of the Department of Education and not of TESDA.
No, yeah, I know. Pero sabi ko nga, siguro, this is, the way to change it is through legislation or maybe pagkatapos ng legislation magawa natin to the IRR. Kasi pansinin niyo po, kahit nasa Job Street, nakalagay doon, well, syempre, call yan ng company na nag-hire ng mga empleyado niya, sasabihin niyo kung anong gusto niya. Pero palagi na lang talaga, maski na yung typist lang, clerk typist, you must be a college graduate. Pag pumunta ka sa Amerika, there's no such thing na must be a college graduate. Sinasabi agad diretso kung anong requirement, anong responsibilities, anong experience ang kailangan. Hindi naka-specify doon kung kailangan mo college graduate o hindi. Maliban na lang kung ikaw engineer, architect, or nurse. Well, of course, nakalagay doon must have license in nursing, etc. Di ba? Yun yung sinasabi ko. Kung mapapansin niyo po, sa Amerika, 4.5% lamang ang unemployment rate ng senior high. Dito sa atin, hindi ko alam kung sinong totoo. Ayon sa Job Street, 57% ang employment for senior high graduates. Ang sabi ng DepEd, 10% lang. Alin po ang totoo? DepEd or Job Street?
Honor, may I clarify yung 57.7%? It is awareness lang of enterprises for hiring
Okay,
senior high.
thank you.
So hindi po siya
So
employment
therefore, 10% lang ang nakakapagtrabaho ng mga senior high after graduation. Wow! So, marami sa kanila, it's either hindi natatanggap, so dumidiretso sa college or pupunta pa sa TESDA. So, bakit pa tayo merong K-12? What is the reason why we still have this K-12? Di ba para after graduate nila sa senior high, magkakaroon sila employment, makakatulong sa kanilang family, etc. etc. Dito pala, pag nag-K-12 ka, only 10% of you guys that will graduate this year will get a job. And what is the DepEd doing about this?
Your Honor, may I share another set of information? Kasi last year, nung December 2022, we did a job fair for K-12. And may mga vacancies, about 9,000. And marami pong, 116 were hired. Basically as cashier, sales agent, and service crew. So what we're saying is, ito yung mga areas na pwede silang ma-hire. And those are some areas which we can enhance their competencies and skills kasi dun sila na-hire sa mga senior high school graduates po, and job fair for senior high schools. And we intend to do the same this year, again, to do a job fair for senior high para malaman, marami pong vacancies for senior high.
Okay nga, ma'am. So, meron kayong ganong klaseng programa, which is very good.
Po.
So, meron kayong for senior high, job openings, sabi nyo nga, 116 were hired. What happened to those that weren't hired?
Iba po kasing qualifications kailangan college graduate. Yung dun sa vacancies, kaya hindi sila na-hire.
I thought you said yung program ninyo, yung naghahanap kayo ng mga applicants for
Opo.
high school, for senior high graduates.
Marami po for senior high graduates, but meron ding mga vacancies na for college.
Why don't you come up with a program exclusive lamang dun sa mga senior high graduates? How's that?
Pwede na po ayusin
To encourage companies na mag-hire ng mga senior high graduates na para mapakinabangan naman, hindi namin masayang yung mga graduates na ito na magkakaroon agad ng trabaho diretso after graduation. Like I said, 10% lamang ayon sa DepEd ang nagkakatrabaho. Whereas sa Amerika, kung titingnan niyo po yung mga classified sa Amerika, wala hong nakalagay doon must be graduate. Wala. Dito lang sa atin sa Pilipinas kahit na typist lang, kahit na receptionist lang, must be college graduate. Hindi nga. Kung ikaw senior high, wala, matiturn off ka. So ang ginagawa ng iba, magte-TESDA muna. O di kaya, akit sa koleyo. O di ba, ano pang purpose na ba't meron pa tayong K-12? So this is where DepEd siguro should come in. So is that okay, ma'am? Come up with a program na
enhance our program for
Yung-
senior high.
at saka yung sinasabi ni Director na yung immersion program, haba-habaan na lang yun, yung gawin na lang natin para apprenticeship for let's say 3 months or 4 months, 5 months, parang training yun sa isang company with a guarantee na after sa immersion program na niyan, di ba, pag-graduate niya, pasok na siya doon, regular pay with benefits. And that company who accept graduate from senior high, makakakuha ng incentive, government incentive, tax break, kung ano pa man. Or siguro ang computation, if the BIR is here, per employees na senior high na na-hire niya, meron siyang tax exemption doon, merong rate na bibilangin. Siguro that's one thing that you should talk with the
Also,
BIR.
meron po kaming yung government internship program na pwede din pong ma-training, ma-enhance yung skills ng ating mga senior high schools. Pwede sila din pumasok dito sa government
After graduation.
after graduation po para
No, ma'am. Ang gusto ko na pag-graduate nila, may trabaho na sila. Kasi
Okay.
karamihan sa mga magulang, nag-expect na anak, pag-graduate mo anak, tulungan mo naman itong kapatid mo. Pag-graduate mo anak, gusto ko makabili tayo ng ganito. Huwag na po yung magte-training pa rin sila. Parang, di ba? Saka isa pa kung mapapansin nyo, Mr. Chair, tingnan mo yung curriculum sa K-12, yung sa mga senior high. Pagdating ng first year college, halos pareho lang yung mga subjects. Pareho lang halos. Kaya nga, dapat pagka-graduate nila sa senior high, matik, meron silang trabaho. Yun po yung gusto ko sana mangyari. Para, kumbaga, mababaan natin yung percentage ng unemployed na mga graduate senior high, bawasan natin yung percentage na akit pa sila sa koleyo. Kasi naman purpose ng K-12. Kasi sinasabi natin, we have to compete globally. Of course, naintindihan ko yan. Pero the difference is, ibang kultura natin dito, ibang kultura sa ibang bansa. Dito kasi dinidiscriminate pag hindi ka graduate ng college. It's a fact because I'm not a graduate of college. I've been discriminated against many times just because wala akong diploma. Ganon dito sa atin sa Pilipinas. Well, what we can do is nandiyan po kayo sa DepEd, nandiyan kayo sa TESDA, kung sino-sino mga otoridad dito, to change that kind of culture and help those people na hindi nakapag-graduate, especially yung sa senior high. Okay? Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Senator Sharif, but let me just put into the records, no? Yung DepEd order kasi ng number 40, series of 2015, nakalagay dun yung 80 hours only. May maximum sila na 80 hours work immersion only. So maybe we can look into it at ipaalam sa DepEd anong basis nung we wanted to find out. Baka may basis sila na hindi natin alam. Let's look into it. Tapos pangalawa, yung binabanggit ni Sen. Raffy, ma'am, kasi kayo na rin ang nagsabi na 57% yung awareness So, wala namang violent reaction from the enterprises to hire senior high school graduates. So, we wanted to find out ano yung dahilan. Kasi kung ito lang yung na-hire, pero kasi sinabi nyo, kaya hindi sila na-hire dahil college graduate yung nire-require ng trabaho. Pero yung mga trabaho na hindi nire-require yung college graduate, ano ba yon? May listahan ba tayo nun? Kasi kung may listahan tayo nun, tapos hindi rin na-hire yung senior high school graduate, there's something wrong with our program, di ba? Sige, can I acknowledge before? Sige, DDG.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. I just would like to share with you this information, Mr. Chairman. Last Friday, our Secretary, Suharto Timong Dadato, together with Madam DDG Rosana Ordaneta, has presented the embedment program or plan between TESDA and Department of Education for for senior high school. So we are now processing it, Mr. Chairman. And in fact, our secretary is also very excited for this, that all programs in senior high school will be embedded in the TESDA training regulations. So that is also our response to the queries of the good Senator Raffy Tulfo in order to elevate the employability of senior high school graduates in the Philippines. Thank you, sir.
We'll go to that later, no? Kasi it's another story, because when you are in the far-flung areas and you are implementing the TVL track, tapos yung mga schools doon wala namang equipment, yung mga schools doon ng TVL wala namang trainer, wala namang assessor, kahit na yung gusto ng bata ganitong kurso, wala silang choice. So doon din sila pupunta because they don't have a choice. And unfortunately, the track that they are taking, the courses that they are no choice sila na piliin, sasama lang din sila dun sa madaming pare-pareho silang graduate ng the same trade discipline, no? So it's another challenge for us. Sige, Chairman Win, you recognize?
Well, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to join the conversation that Senator Raffy mentioned. This is precisely the issues that we were tackling when we were talking about the proposed measure to overhaul or to reform the senior high school program in our country. And the output of which is the Batang Magaling Law, Batang Magaling Bill, which we already sponsored in the floor. And there are three things. The question of Senator Raffy, how come our senior high school graduates are not being hired? No? So there are three things that we found out in that hearing. Number one, corporations have no buy-in in terms of the training and the work immersion program. On the ground, the corporations are clueless about work immersion programs and our senior high school. So we need to fuse them together on the ground. Number two, the chairman knows this very, very well. We have about 1 million senior high school students who are taking TechVoc. But after graduating senior high school, they don't have any certification. No, zero. No? So who will hire senior high school ka na, wala ka pang certification, who will hire you? No? So this 2025, with the help of our good chairman, we already funded about 500 million pesos to assess and certify our senior high school students. So they will end up with two documents. Number one, their diploma, and number two, their NC certification. No? And then number three, the work immersion is really, the 80 hours is not enough, no? It's really just exposure. It's not even immersion, it's just exposure, no? So we also plan to increase the number of hours in terms of work immersion program. And that's the reason Senator Raffy is already here. I was telling them, Senator Raffy, that during the deliberations of the Batang Magaling Bill, we addressed the issues of assessment and certification, as well as the industry buy-in in terms of what to train our senior high schools. Because right now, on the ground, ang nangyayari, our senior high school, the senior high school students, they'll be given to a particular corporation or particular company just for compliance of work immersion. Walang saysay doon sa gusto nilang matuto. And that's why when the senior high school graduates, wala siyang trabaho. No? So that we plan to address that, Mr. Chairman, in that bill that we proposed. But moreover, no, let's invite DepEd next time, no, to shed light on this, because there might be some opportunities to build a continuum from senior high school to EBT, no, somehow. No, we'll find that continuum later on. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Before I start asking questions, no, I'd like to pound on that particular issue of the challenge for the basic education, especially the senior high school TVL track, that 1 million would go to this track every single year. But then, if we could not afford to provide trainers, assessors, and this year's budget, this coming year's budget, the three of us here supported the augmentation of funding for the certification of our senior high school. Kasi tama si Senator Win, kung ang promise ng senior high school, sabi din ni Senator Raffy, is when you graduate, you land jobs. How can you land jobs when the companies or enterprises are looking for the national certification of TESDA, which has become the passport for employment? Hindi naman ma-certify. Bakit? Wala din palang assessor. Wala rin pala, kulang din pala yung assessor. Until now, we have yet to put a number as to how many assessors we need to produce every single year. Malaking challenge siya, no? Let me start asking questions lang. Let me show this, no? Yung sa table 1, please. Can we show yung table 1? Because based on 2021 study on the employment of TVET graduates, as I mentioned earlier, 3 highest employability rates among all training modes of TESDA are from enterprise-based education and training modalities. Nandiyan yung apprenticeship, dual training system, and in-company training and learnership. No? Now, if the employment rates of enterprise-based education and training modalities are higher than institutional-based and community-based trainings, why was TESDA unable to reach its targets? Kanina binanggit ko yung target kasi for 2022 supposed to be from 2016 of 4% to 40%. Unfortunately, itong next table sa report ng TESDA sa enterprise base, lowest number of enrolled learners and graduates. So, binanggit natin, ito yung pinakamataas ang employment rate, ito yung pinaka-epektibo. Naniniwala tayong lahat na ang bata, ang learner, pag dinala doon sa workplace area, binigyan ng pagkakataong matuto inside the workplace area using the same equipment, the same facilities, mas mabilis matuto. At kung mas mabilis matuto, mas madali para sa kumpanya na mag-hire ng mga nanggaling dito sa enterprise-based training nila kesa from outsider. So it appears that we are losing crucial opportunity here given the fact that enterprise-based education and training have high employment rates and yet they are the smallest in number among all delivery modes. So, ang tanong ko po sa TESDA is your updated target. Kasi naging ambitious nga tayo, no? From 4% to 40%. Meron na tayo ngayon sa 2023 to 2028 na NTSDP, no? Ano na yung target natin ngayong taon for enterprise-based training? Maybe, no?
Your Honor.
Yes,
Can I
naman yung
answer
tinatanong ko, but can you
Can
answer?
I
Sige po,
answer?
sige po, sige.
Kasi po may yung ating labor and employment plan, and usually TESDA participates in the deliberation
Okay.
of the labor and employment plan. Meron tayong targets, outcomes, and outputs. Meron pong doon sa matrix, enterprise-based training implemented, then indicator, number of graduates from enterprise-based training programs increase, and number of enterprise-based programs offered. From a baseline of 79,000 for the number of graduates from enterprise-based training, ang target po na binigay sa LEP is 80,682, which will increase to 88,592. And then the number of
Would you be aware of the TESDA National Technical Education and Skills Development Plan? You're aware of that, okay? So I think it is more practical for this representation, for the Senate, to look into these numbers because every 5 years, if I may, every 5 years mayroong NTSDP para mas madali, di ba, yung computation at comparability. Can we just stick to that? May NTSDP ng 2018 to 2022. Ang target from 4% to 40%. We already agreed na ambitious yun at hindi nagawa, malayong malayo. So ang next question, what would be now the NTSDP After 5 years, we come up with another NTSDP. Ano ngayon yung target natin? Yun lang naman po yung tanong para lang hindi tayo malayo dun sa nakaraang 2018 to 2022 NTESDP target. Ano na ngayon sa 2023 to 2028?
Sir, may I request that Ms. Andrade may be
Yeah,
recognized?
please. Ay, Linda, please.
Good afternoon po, honorable senators, Mr. Chair. With the permission of DDG Vidal and Yusek Ami, the ones that Yusek Ami is mentioning a while ago is consistent with what the targets of the NTSDP. The NTSDP is very supportive of the LEP, which is also aligned with the PDP. So for the number of graduates of the enterprise-based programs from a baseline of 79,100. At the end of plan, Mr. Chair, in 2028, we would have 88,592. So for the number of EBT programs offered, from a baseline of 1,067 EBT TVET programs, end of plan, we will have 1,193. For the number of enrollees.
Sorry,
Yes.
Ma'am. I'm sorry. I don't want to run out of patience here. I am just asking very simple question. Ang NTESDP 2018 to 2022 from 4% ng enterprise-based education and training ay 4% tina-target maging 40% by 2022. Now you came up with the NTSDP 2023 to 2028. Tinatanong ko ho, ano ngayon yung target sapagkat tayo po ay hindi nasiyahan na masyadong mataas yung tinarget noon at pag tinignan po natin, tuloy-tuloy, I will give you more tables here. Give me table 3. Yung TVET providers natin conducting enterprise-based education and training by region, ayan po, pababa ng pababa ng pababa ng pababa ng pababa. So, tatanungin ko po ulit, ano po ang NTSDP target? Meron po ba o wala? Kasi kung wala, bakit wala? At tila baga parang hindi na ba natin priority ito? Perhaps that's the main reason why we are all here today because we feel that this is such a forsaken initiative. We wanted to make sure that we can do more, we can assess our programs, we can improve so that at the end of the day, magbe-benefit dito yung mga learners, mga kababayan natin na papasok sa enterprise-based training program natin. Do we have or we don't have? Kasi dun sa 2022, yung huli, from 4% nga, ngayon ay 16.66% yung enrolled noong 2022, ang gumraduate naman ay 15.51%. So, what is the target? Hindi naman natin sinasabing yung target nyo, makukuha po ninyo, pero gusto natin malaman, may target po ba tayo, ang TESDA?
Mr. Chair,
Please?
yung pong na-mention ko kanina, hindi lang po siya naka-percentage as it was before, but that is precisely what the target is, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, can we do a percentage? Because we are comparing apples to oranges here. We wanted apples to apples, orange to orange.
We will do that, Mr. Chair.
Can
And
you do that, please? Yeah. So again, let me go back to my original point here. No, why am I showing all of this? Ano yung efforts being implemented by the agency of our beloved TESDA to increase the number of EBT providers? Because look at this, pre-pandemic, ang taas, nagpandemya, bumaba. Ngayon, hindi na nga tayo makabalik dun sa pre-pandemic figures, pababa pa ng pababa. Can you imagine a entire region of ARM? We only have 4 providers in the entire region. I mean, I'm sorry to say this, but if perhaps we have more of this, baka hindi nasama sa mga impaktong terorista yung gumawa ng karumal-dumal na krimen na kahapon, di ba? I mean, so what are we doing about this? Do we have a target to increase the number of providers? Kasi in 2019, ayan, 983, in 2022, 830 na lang. Ngayong August, we only had 684. So, meron ba tayong ginagawa dito? Or Kasi alam natin lahat, ito yung way to go eh. Lahat tayo naniniwala, kanina pa tayo nag-uusap dito, this is the way to go. We need to do this. Sayang, yung pay opportunity. Sayang, makakapagtrabaho yung mga kababayan. Sayang, nabibigyan natin ng magandang hanap buhay yung ating mga kababayan at maganda itong programa na ito. And yet, numbers don't lie. Kasi may kailangan tayong palitan. We need to change in our current policies. Meron ba tayong kailangan gawin in incentivizing industries to offer more EBT programs? Help us.
Mr. Chair, isa po sa mga strategy that we're doing in TESDA right now is to institutionalize yung ating tinatawag na enterprise and
Oh my God. How many trainers do we have? How many trainers conduct enterprise-based education and training? How has the guidelines improved? Yung guidelines in the past, nag-improve ba? As we move forward from the 2016-2022 NTESDP, nag-improve ba yung guidelines? May pinalitan ba tayo doon para to encourage more participants? How many trainers do we have? How many trainers since its issuance ang na-produce natin? Because we wanted to keep track. Diba? I think that's a basic question that we should all know about if we are representing TESDA and we come here.
Mr. Chair, may I request that the certification office would be allowed to speak also?
Please, please, please. Kasi baka kulang nga tayong trainers. Ano bang gagawin pa natin? Kulang na trainers, wala pang participants ng providers. We're doomed. Please, while we're waiting,
Yeah,
please.
well, they're getting information and data. May I ask DDG Villanueva, based on your analysis and if we have conducted research, how come the EBT training is so low, ranging from 4% to 15% from the slide that I saw earlier? So, what is the primary reason why this program is so low?
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. There are several reasons, Mr. Chair, why the EBT program is very low. I would like to share with you, Mr. Chair, the lack of industry to partner with the jurisdiction of TBIs that matches the qualification. More so, living expenses of the trainees also are considered as difficulty. And we need to partner with as many enterprises for the implant training. Aside from that, Mr. Chairman, the scholarship covers only in-school training portion of the DTS program, and with a limited scholarship allocation per sector, per region, this evenly distributed to TVET implementers, being institutional-based or enterprise-based training, which deterred their participation in dual training system. And there's a lot of requirements, Mr. Chairman, in the program registration. We need also to capacitate the EBT focals for the effective promotion of EBT programs all over the country as well. And our companies as well, Mr. Chairman, are complaining because with this program, the disruption of regular operation of the enterprises are also affected. So that's why we need to really advocate this program to enterprises. And most of all, Mr. Chairman, in our provinces, most of the enterprises belongs to small-size companies and have a problem providing with full training subsidy amounting to 75% of the minimum wage as required by the existing laws. And the training period as well, Mr. Chair, the trainers of the companies and human resources representatives feel that first 3 months of the training program is good enough to learn the basics. The firm's representatives prepares a longer training program in the range of at least 6 to 9 months, depending on the intricacies of skills required by the trainers. So those are some of the concerns, Mr. Chair, that we are facing in TESDA as we implement these EBT programs.
Number one is lack of industry. What?
Industry partner, Mr. Chairman, with
Lack
the
of industry
enterprises.
partners. And what is the reason why? I guess those are the reasons, no? The ones you enumerated
Yes,
are the
Mr.
reasons. Okay, and then let's take one. No? For example, you mentioned earlier living expenses. How do we address? Because the law is one thing, no? But we plan to make it attuned to all of. We plan to solve all of those problems that you mentioned. No? For example, living expenses. No? What do you suggest in order to improve or to solve that problem of living expenses? We have to embed it in the law. Now, we all know that those you mentioned are the problems, but how do we solve each and every problem so that we will make the EBT successful? Now, we don't want to enact a law that is not going to be successful. No? The law should solve all of those issues that you mentioned. So I just want to ask, very simple lang. No? One of the things that you mentioned is living expenses. What do you mean by that? No? The trainee will. What do you mean by living expenses? And what do you suggest to solve that issue of living expenses?
For our trainees, Mr. Chair, to be relocated in the site of the company, we need to support them financially. Maybe that can also be part of the scholarship program. So aside from what they are getting, the 75% from the enterprises, there must also be an intervention coming from the government so that they will not stop from this program.
Plan the trainers will be compensated. Is that what you
That
propose?
they must be provided as well, Mr. Chair, of their allowance as well.
The trainer should be provided with allowance.
Yes.
Okay. And how much do you propose the allowance should be? And how much is the total request for that allowance?
My request.
How much is the total? Because we want to make this successful. Enacting a law is the easy part. Making it successful is the challenging part. No, so how much do you propose, and then how much is the total?
Mr. Chair, we don't have the figure right now, but we would like to get back to you for the proposal. Mr.
Ganito
Chair.
na lang. Submit to us that the ones you mentioned,
Yes, sir.
the issues why EBT or corporations are not joining the EBT program, but also give us solutions and also give us computations. Because if you say na let's allocate funds, how much do we need? No? How
Yes.
much do we need? Because we need to know also the universe of or the magnitude of the funds that we will be allocating.
Yes, sir. We will get back to you, sir, with the
Just submit to us to
solution
the
that we
committee so
propose.
we'll be enlightened. But these are basic questions that we need to enrich the records so that people will understand why we are pushing for this bill. No?
Yes, sir.
Mr.
Thank you.
Chair. Okay, hindi pa niya nasasagot yung tanong kanina ni Senator Win, yung una niyang pinoint out na lack of industry who wants to partnership to the program. Pakisagot lang po bakit. And then sa dulo sinabi mo sa mga probinsya, ang karamihan ay mga SMSMEs. Ito yung mga company na nahirapan mag-participate. Don't you know na 99.5% ng kumpanya sa buong Pilipinas ay 99.5% MSMEs?
Thank you so much,
So,
Mr.
pakisagot lang po yung unang tanong ni Senator Win. Lack of industry who wants to participate in the partnership program.
The reason of the industry's reluctance to participate on this, Mr. Chairman, it is not clear what are the incentives that they will be getting from the
Well, you must
government.
make it clear.
Um,
That's why you're there. Make it clear. to these companies. Come up with something. Talk to all stakeholders. Talk to DepEd. Talk to any agencies na makatulong dito.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Kasi hindi pala clear, so hindi nyo na-explain sa kanila na mabuti. That's why you're there. That's your job. To make it clear to them.
Yes, Mr. Chair. We had already...
So ano yung hindi clear sa kanila?
Hindi nila klaro sa kanila, Mr. Chair, kasi if they would apply to the Bureau of Internal Revenue, hindi rin alam ng BIR how to implement the
Then talk to the
incentives.
BIR.
We had already initial talk with the BIR.
So ano nangyari po dun sa initial talks nyo with the BIR?
The BIR, Mr. Chair, has promised to come up with revenue regulation that would address to the needs
Talk to the
of
BIR,
our
talk to the
company.
Department of Finance. If you need our help here in the Senate, we will be more than happy to help you.
Yes,
Come up
Mr.
with a
Chair.
regulation how these companies can take advantage of the incentives that we need to offer para sila mag-participate sa program. Right? As simple as that. I'll give you an example. In the United States, in other countries, meron tinatawag na exemption. So, kunyari, nag-donate ka sa sasakyan, nag-donate ka ng damit, binabawas yun. Ilang sasakyan dinonate mo, bawas per sasakyan. Ilan yung dependent mo, per dependent, merong bawas sa tax. Ganon din yan siguro dito sa atin. Kausapin nyo ng BIR. Siguro di ka nagkainti ng BIR. So, every time na sila mag-hire ng graduate ng senior high, so meron silang tax break doon. May exemption sila. Kung mag-hire sila ng 50, hindi, ang laki ng tax break nila, ang laki ng exemption nila.
Sige, maganda yun, Senator Raffy. Tanungin natin, Desda. Sige, ano yung hindi clear sa mga enterprises? Sabi nyo kanina yung tax break. Sige, let's go clearly. DTS, Dual Training System. Magkano ang tax breaks ng isang enterprise pag nag-implement sila ng DTS, Your Honor?
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Please.
Senator, based on the DTS law po, nagbibigay po siya ng 50% tax deductions on the actual expenses paid by the DTS educational institutions po. Kasama din po dito yung tax exemptions sa donors tax at saka essential equipments, apparatus, and materials imported by the accredited DTS educational institutions, Mr. Chair. However,
Sige po, go ahead.
However, Mr. Chair, kung titignan po natin yung nung ipinasa po, Mr. Chair, yung CREATE law, nag-create po siya ng certain limitation pagdating po naman po sa apprenticeship tax benefits po. Kasi specifically mentioned under the CREATE law, Mr. Chair, Section 9V, sinasabi po niya na ang makapag-avail lang ng 50% tax deduction ay only public technical and vocational institutions. We clarified this po with the BIR and they said na very restrictive po yung provision ng batas na ito. So yung ating mga enterprises po, Mr. Chair, mga companies na nag-implement, they don't fall under this category, so hindi po sila makapag-avail ng tax exemption po, Mr. Chair. That's why, Mr. Chair, we are in support with the provisions of your bill, Section 18 po, nung binanggit niyo po, Mr. Chair, na may mga tax benefits na po doon na nakapaloob for DTS, apprenticeship, and all other in-company training and programs.
Yes, we wanted to clarify kasi kaya natin nilagay yun. But also in CREATE, there is an additional benefits, yung corporate recovery and tax incentives for Enterprise Act. Deduction of half of the value of labor training expenses incurred for trainees enrolled in public education institutions and duly covered by an apprenticeship agreement. So meaning to say, as lawmakers here, kaming tatlo dito, nagpasa na ho tayo ng batas. May dual training system, meron ding CREATE. So ito ho ba, hindi pa rin clear? Kasi binabanggit kanina, not clear sa ating mga enterprises kung ano yung makukuha nila. Hindi pa rin clear po ito.
I think it's not yet clear, Mr. Chair, kasi nag-inquire po kami sa BIR kung ano yung exact interpretation ng provision, Mr. Chair. Kasi yung binasa po natin kanina na section, Mr. Chair, naka-highlight din po kasi yun yung public technical and vocational institutions. So, yung system po ng DTS or yung apprenticeship program, sir, meron pong kasama po yan ng mga companies.
Now let me cut you there, no, sir, Attorney Pascual. If you're saying, are you saying that the CREATE law actually is the reason why there is a low turnout of enterprises participation to enterprise-based training education?
I cannot say for sure, Mr. Chair, because we have not conducted a study regarding
The problem.
this. Yes, sir.
Do you have any data that says This is the main reason why kokonti yung nagpa-participate na enterprises. May data po ba tayo?
We don't have that specific data, but let me just share our experience, Mr. Chair, kasi pag nakaka-meeting po namin yung mga private industries, kasi aligned din po, Mr. Chair, ito
But these
sa...
are data that I showed you. Data that says there are only a number of enterprises based na training program, enterprises participating in the enterprise-based training program that TESDA supposed to be regulating. The data, the numbers don't lie. You can also contest these numbers and say, mali yan, mataas na ngayon. Mali yan kasi pataas na ngayon. Tama yan, pero ito na yung ginagawa namin. Kaya tataas na yan, ini-expect namin tataas na yan. Because the data is very clear, pababa ng pababa itong participation. So, yung kaninang katanungan lang, meron tayong mga guidelines, meron tayong mga ginagawa. We wanted to find out as legislators, ano yung ginagawa ninyo na effective, ilagay pa rin natin sa batas. Merong effective o defective, yung sa create ba, defective ba, kumbinsihin nyo kami na defective at nakasama talaga. Kasi if we do something about it now and say, oh yan, yung sa create, kailangan tanggalin ito, ganito, ganyan. Pero wala naman tayong basis. So, how can we do that, di ba? So, yun yung kailangan namin as legislators eh.
Senator Joel, tama po kayo, Mr. Chair. We will not contest the data na bumababa nga po talaga yung number ng mga graduates, mga enrollees, and implementers. However, TESDA, the part of TESDA po, for example, this year we tried to meet with the BIR to clarify certain issues, and at the same time we came up with an agreement po to submit certain documentations in order for them to come up with a revenue regulation that would address some of the concerns, especially po sa DTS. Moreover, we conducted several, Mr. Chair, capability building sa aming regional offices and focals, highlighting po the benefits of the different programs. And at the same time, Mr. Chair, when it comes po sa industry board po natin, yan po yung ginagawa namin, Mr. Chair, na ini-infuse namin with our during our discussion yung importance or yung impact ng enterprise-based trainings natin in hopes po na mahikayat ang ating mga industriya na mag-provide ng mga programs po na EBT po, Mr. Chair.
Yes, thank you for that. But if you look at maybe show table 4, you show the table, please. We are all in agreement, TESDA and everyone else here inside this room are in agreement that this is the way to go. Importante ang enterprise-based education and training, etc. But if you look at this table, your honors, pababa rin ng pababa yung enrolled na number of students. From 2018, biruin mo, 7,000 dati. Ngayon, 2,000 na lang. So, meron talagang problema. May problema din sa nagpapatupad. May problema din sa promotion. Yung kaninang binabanggit ni DDG Vidal, may mga enterprises na hindi pa rin alam ito. Kailan nila malalaman kaya? Kailangan ba mag-privilege speech kaming tatlo dito na sabihin namin na calling all enterprises na mag-conduct kayo ng ganito kasi win-win sa inyo ito, etc. So ito, pababa pa rin po ng pababa. Now, if you look at another table, alam nyo kami dito sa Senado, nag-aaral kami bago mag-hearing eh. Another table, ito, in terms of monitoring ng TESDA, no? Ito, tingnan nyo, ang gulo. Example, in 2022, the number of enterprise-based education and training enrollees and graduates, based on TESDA's annual report, magkaiba. Dun sa 2022, TESDA annual TVET statistics, by almost half. Kalahati po ito eh. So again, kung bibigyan nyo kami ng ganitong mga tables, ganitong mga figures, ano ba talaga yung TESDA's process in monitoring its number of trainees? Kung mali, ang laki ho ng difference. Can you clarify on this? Which is which? Anyone can answer, please.
Ate Babes.
Mr. Chair, may we provide the data on this and on your question, which is switch in later date, Mr. Chair.
Okay, wala naman kaming choice.
Ay.
Anyway, I don't know what else to say. Your Honors, I'm sorry. I came from TESDA. I feel so bad. We're saying we need to do this. We are all in belief that ito yung tama. This is the way to go. But what the hell are we doing in the past years? We can't even confirm or deny these figures. My God. Lahat tayo in agreement. Tama ito. Gusto nating gawin. Pero kung may pasa din pala natin to, kung kayo din ang mag-i-implement, ganun din pala. Dual training system, gaano nakatagal yung batas na yan? Tagal na yan eh. Hanggang ngayon, hindi pa rin alam ng mga enterprises. I don't know what else to say. Please give us na lang yung mga kailangan namin. I can go on and on asking questions, but these are all basic questions. If I can go on and on to ask these questions, edi wala rin. I'm sure hindi rin masasagot. I'll give the floor to
Chairman, we want to see this bill successful. No, like I said, no, passing the bill is the easiest part. Making this successful is another question. So we need the cooperation of TESDA in particular, because in the bill you're the implementing agency and the rest of the agencies on how come the EBT program is not getting the enrollment that it should be. You know, only 4 to 15%. So there's a problem. We're all saying that apprenticeship is important. We're all saying that apprenticeship is vital to creating employment and also arming our workforce with the necessary skills. But the EBT is not getting any attention. So there's a problem. So we want the agencies, binigyan nyo kami ng list of issues, but also give us a list of solutions. No? Don't just throw the problems to us. Give us the solutions. If there are also corresponding budgetary requirements, give us the budgetary requirements as well, no? So that we can incorporate that in the bill. The bill is already quite comprehensive, but we need to make sure that it's successful. No? So that's why we need the cooperation of TESDA and also DOLE to give us a comprehensive report on how to make this successful, and also the basic data. Yung mga tinatanong ni Chairman are very elementary, very basic data. We need to put that into the records, because if you tell us we need money, we also need to compute how many graduates are we looking at, how many corporations are we looking at, how many trainers are we looking at. Sabi nga ni Chairman, kulang tayo sa trainers. Baka maglalagay naman tayo ng budget, wala naman tayong trainers. The reason, if you remember the budget, the initial amounts that we all agreed to put to train our senior high school is 1.5. But when the Chairman raised na wala naman assessors, kahit maglagay kami 10 billion, wala naman assessors, wala rin. That's why we reduced it to 400 million. No? So those are the things that you need to think about and give the committee, because you have the information, you have the data. You know? So make sure that in the next hearing, Mr. Chairman, kung may next hearing, is to come here armed with data, information, and suggestions, not only problems. No? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Chair,
Please, Senator Raffy.
you did mention a while ago, isa sa mga reason, but there is a lack of participation dun sa program ng mga industry. Ay meron mga companies nagko-complain. Pakibanggit niyo ulit sa amin, ano po yung mga complaints usually ng mga companies na ay mag-participate sa program ninyo? What are usually the complaints?
Sir, Mr. Chair, companies are complaining with the disruption of the regular operation of the enterprises.
Disruption?
Yes, sir. Example of this is the Philippine Contractors Association. So,
Contractor?
yes, sir.
Anong kinalaman ng contractor sa isang company, halimbawa MSMEs, na tatanggap ng graduates mula sa inyo o mula sa programa ninyo?
It's the Mr. Chair, it's the consolidated concern of the Philippine Contractors Association that once they bring in
Sorry sir,
applications
anong kinalaman ng contractor sa isang company na lalagyan nyo po ng mga graduate ninyo after makapag-train sa inyo? Okay? Anong kinalaman ng Association of Contractors? Sila ba ang nagde-decide how the companies are going to be run?
It's an association of these companies, Mr. Chairman.
I know. There's an association of contractors. Akala ko kasi you're talking about DPWH, kailangan may mga contractor. We're talking different here. We're talking about companies, MSMEs, maliliit na kumpanya na papasok, galing sa programa ninyo, papasok doon, magkaroon ng trabaho. Ngayon, ang sinasabi mo, magkakaroon ng disruption. How can that be a disruption? These people that graduate from your program, you put them in that company so that they'll have a job. And you said the companies are complaining because it will be a disruption based on the standards set forth by the Association of Contractors. Anong kinalaman ng mga contractors? Ang layo pong mga sagot niyo, sir.
Sir, these are the companies.
This is the reason kung bakit di kayo successful kasi ang layong mga isip nyo. Siguro next time, sir, dalhin nyo na dito yung BIR at by the time you come back, kung meron pa next hearing, nakapag-usap ka ng BIR and then you tell us ano na pag-usapan ninyo. And then don't mention about contractors. Are you a contractor from the DPWH? Ano ka,
Mr.
AAA?
Chairman. No.
Contractor? No? Oh. Bakit hindi contractor? Isa pa. I'll tell you this, Mr. Chair. Nung last hearing natin, correct me if I'm wrong, may sinabi ka, pinagmalaki niyo pa kayo dyan sa TESDA na mataas ang employment rate. However, marami sa kanila underpaid. Kaya nga nagalit ako doon. Below minimum? Anong ginagawa niyo? Ba't niyo pinapayagan na itong mga graduate ng TESDA na pinunduhan ng gobyerno para makagraduate, matuto at pag nag-graduate magkaroon ng decent trabaho at least man na minimum, and yet inamin mo na marami sa kanila below minimum. Oh, baka sabihin mo kasi yung contractor nagsabi, below minimum sila. Contractor ulit ang gawin natin reason. Sir, may problema kayo. You came here not ready. Sabi nga ni Senator Chairman dito, si Senator Joel, we prepared for this. Unfortunately, you guys are not prepared. Siguro sa next hearing, dapat mag-prepare na kayo, ano, sir? Mr. Chair, salamat po.
Last question.
Before you ask that
yeah.
question, to put on record, no, madami ho sa loob ng conference room na ito, together with Senator Gatchalian, myself, Attorney Estrada, some of our staff here, present during the Education Commission quarterly meeting. The Contractors Association of the Philippines were there, presented into the body a list of programs that they are expecting from the education sector, particularly from TESDA, that they are in full support of enterprise-based training program. That's why we are all so shocked to hear that they are complaining and saying it's an interruption of their operations. We don't agree with it because, you know, the records will bail me out. Again, so many personalities involved here in Education Commission 2 were all present last Friday. Is it Friday? Thursday. Last Thursday. And they were saying that even TESDA board is operating very, very slow, tackling training regulations with a maximum of 4 training regulations per meeting only. And I even asked them why, what is happening? Why is it that they can only accommodate only 4 training regulations per meeting? There is a somehow prescribed ceiling as to how many training regulations will be tackled. Again, coming from TESDA, this is so disappointing, and for me, it's unacceptable. I hope we can do something about it. Also, again, if you talk to the Philippine Constructions Association, they were saying they wanted this, they need this. This is a win-win initiative for the construction industry, and in a way, this is a great opportunity for them to help our learners and the education sector. Just to put that on record. Chairman Win, please.
Lastly, Mr. Chairman, and I do attest that the president of the Contractors Association, the Philippines, he was actually the one presenting to the body about their advocacy on enterprise-based training. My last question is on Section 13, DDG Villanueva. I noticed here that there's a committee to be created And part of the responsibility is monitoring the program, settling differences between management and trainees, and recommending measures for effective program implementation. From your experience, what are the differences? From the experience of TESDA, what do you mean by settling of differences? Anyone from TESDA?
Mr. Chair, if I may po.
Please, Attorney.
Okay. Just an example, Mr. Chair. For example, kung ang bata po ay na-admit sa isang apprenticeship program na implement ng isang industriya at ang bata ay gusto niyang i-terminate po yung agreement for whatever reasons. Yung may committee po na magtitingin kung ano yung reason bakit kaya hindi maging successful ang pagpatuloy ng bata para just in case po na minor naman po yung kadahilanan na pwedeng ma-settle ng committee ay mapag-ayos po yung bata at saka yung industriya para sa ganun ay mapagpatuloy ng bata at matapos na po ang kanyang programa, Mr. Chair.
Existing mechanism right now
Yes, Mr. Chair.
under the EBT program,
Particularly the apprenticeship and the DTS programs, Mr. Chair.
apprenticeship and DTS program. And from your experience, how many cases of settling of differences are there? No, just give us a ballpark figure. Is it does it take up a major part of the committee's work?
My apologies, Mr. Chair, but as of the moment, I don't have
Yeah,
the
just
record
submit
yet.
to us
We
na
will
lang.
submit.
No, the reason why I'm asking is, dapat in training, there's no difference eh. Diba? It's training, no? It's good for you and you get paid for it. So I'm just wondering, I just want to be enlightened. What are the differences, no? I think the ones you're pointing out is more or less the arrangement between the two personalities. No?
Yes po, Mr. Chair. And just in case po, Mr. Chair, kasi may training agreement po sila.
Yes, correct. May training agreement.
Possible po kasi na yung bata, pinapagtrabaho siya ng something outside of the training plan. So
Okay.
magkakaroon po ngayon ng complaints or problem regarding these two. So isisettle po ng committee kung saan po nagkaroon ng lapses, kung tama po ba ang allegation ng bata or tama po ba na may paglabag din sa naging kasunduan po nila. So ito pong committee ang mag-i-ensure po na maayos po yung ano nila. Just in case na hindi naman po talaga maayos, papasok po, sulong na training po ang pag-usapan, pwede na pan pong may appeal kay TESDA kung ano man yung resolution ng committee.
Just for the next hearing, just submit to us some numbers so that we'll have a good flavor of how this committee and how the board resolves this type of issues. So thank
Will
you,
do po,
Mr. Chair.
Senator.
Thank you. Just to follow it up, no? For example, it's a dual training system, merong training plan eh. So pag hindi nila nagampanan yung training, what is embedded doon sa training plan, doon pumapasok yung committee. Is that correct?
Yes po, Mr. Chair. And lalo na po kung may instances ng abuses, Mr. Chair, kasi sinisigurado po natin as much as possible na yung ating mga trainees ay hindi sila ma-abuse kasi nga po, trainees po sila, hindi sila empleyado. And that's
Exactly.
the stand of TESDA.
They are expected, they should not, the enterprises should not expect the trainees to perform or to work like a regular worker, di ba? So that is the case na papasok yung committee na sinasabi mo. I think it's very important yung tinatanong ni Senator Gatchalian na how many times we have experienced itong siguro sa isang taon how many times pumapasok yung committee, ano yung universe natin para din lang sa isasubmit, no, bigay sa atin para maintindihan namin gusto. But another thing is dun sa apprenticeship program, you don't have a list of apprenticeshable occupations.
We have actually, Mr. Chair.
You have?
Yes. We will also submit a copy.
So meron na kayo. So kung meron na kayo, madali na po i-figure out, for example, if an occupation can actually last longer than a regular 6 months. Diba na? Pwede ka na, yan, for example, ano yung po pwedeng sabihin mo na apprenticable occupation na hindi kakayanin ng 6 months? Pwede ka nang maging regular. Diba? Meron yon for sure.
Exactly, Mr. Chair. Meron pong ganung scenario. Kaya base po sa apprenticeship law po natin, Mr. Chair, hindi kasi pwedeng lumagpas ng 6 months. So ang ginagawa po dyan, kung
You also agree with me na there are some apprenticable occupations na Hindi kakayanin ng 6 months.
Definitely, Mr.
Thank
Chair.
you. Thank you. Siguro yun na lang, no? Pasubmit na lang po. But curious na lang, one last. How many yung listing ninyo? Kasi even Dole, nakita ko yung mukha niyo, nagulat kayo na meron silang list ng apprenticeable occupations. Ilan yan? Kasi yung Dole, pati sila nagulat eh.
Actually, Mr. Chair, yung ginagamit po namin list of apprenticeable occupations galing po sa listahan din po ng DOLE.
Uy, galing pala sa inyo, Dole, ha? So, hindi daw po sa Dole. At least, nalaman yung hindi sa Dole.
Opo, pero my apologies po, ma'am, if that is the case because I'm just reading what is opo. Base po, sir, Senator, based on this list, it's 141 po.
141.
Yes po.
Diyan sa 141 na list na yan, ilan yung more than 6 months? More than 6 months to 2 years, tingin mo na magpo-fall under, do you have that or wala?
I still have to compute, Mr. Chair, kasi
Sige, hintayin
indicated lang po is yung number of total hours,
Yeah.
Mr. Chair.
Hintayin na lang namin. But when was this official list came about? Itong apprenticeable occupations na ikinagulat din ng DOLE na meron kayo. Kailan yan lumabas? Baka mamaya, attorney, ikaw lang ang may alam niyan. Sila DDG Vidal ba, alam niya?
Okay, we will just provide, Mr. Chair, yung list po na pinawag po.
Your Honor,
Siguradong tama.
Can I
Yeah.
respond?
Yes, respond.
Currently, all the training regulations have been classified as apprenticeable occupations by TESDA.
Teka lang.
So, ang nangyari,
Teka lang.
yun po, yun ang sabi sa amin ng TESDA. So, kaya sabi namin, if we finally have the apprenticeship law, then we should define clearly what are apprenticeable occupations.
Unang itatanong ko sa floor kay Senator Jinggoy dyan sa apprenticeship. Anyway, so ibig sabihin lahat ng training regulation, yun lang yung sinabi nyo? Na apprenticeable?
Yes, Mr. Chair, as with the current
Loko nyo kami.
situation, Mr. Chair, kaya gusto po namin siyang...
It's not the apprenticeable occupation. We've been talking about this kanina eh. So wala pa. Wala pa. Anyway, sige, Attorney Erap, please.
Yes, thank you, Senator. Just want to share some just wanted to share some insights based on our review and this opportunity to check with the agencies kung tama. Kasi po yung batas, nung naipasa yung TESDA Act, yung apprenticeable occupations, determination yun, has been transferred to TESDA, formerly from DOLE. But the terms and conditions of apprenticeship...
Please, order, please. Later na kayo mag-usap.
Sorry.
We have, please.
Yeah. Salamat po. But the terms and conditions of the apprenticeship program remains with the labor code. In fact, sa labor code, nasa title siya ng labor code on training and employment. So apprenticeship is a mode of employment. Kaya po merong restriction na 6 months eh. Kasi after that, hindi pwede. Otherwise, ma-circumvent po yung security of tenure. So we have 2 policies now. One agency that determines apprenticeshable occupations through training regulations po, yung sinasabi nila kung yun man yun. But the terms and conditions of apprenticeship as an employment, as a DOLE po eh. So, magkahiwalay po yun. Now, yung gusto ko lang pong i-clarify yung kanina about apprenticeship and EBT. We think that what the bill now tries to address is the framework for EBT. Kasi hindi po lahat ng enterprise-based training are based on employment or modality. Katulad po ng mga work immersion program ng senior high school. The purpose is really to complete the senior high school program. Isa lang po yung objective na ma-absorb sila sa work after. So I think if we put them under one governance, mas magkakaroon po ng better collaboration yung TESDA at DepEd eh. So right now, hindi po malinaw based on our researches and consultations, ilan ba yung nasa TVL track ang enterprise-based? And ilan ba doon ang conform with the training regulations? Magka-separate po yung TVL ng DepEd at yung mga TVET programs po ng TESDA. So I think yun po ang ma-address ito eh. So yun po yung mga overlaps. Marami po kami observations talaga overlaps on policy, which I think if we address that would help a lot. But I think some implementation problems will remain kasi this is on the presumption that the implementation problems are addressed. Salamat po.
Before we close,
Your
no, just to put this on record, this is the third hearing pala. Third hearing na to eh. yung first two hearings was conducted by the chair, Senator Chief Escudero, and gusto lang natin na mapabilisan itong ginagawa natin. If there's none, no, just to thank all of you. Truly, we cannot go to business as usual if we are aiming to.
Ito nga yung kultura natin dito ngayon, Mr. Chair, which we have to correct through legislation. Perhaps, I don't know, lahat ng mga sa classified ads na naghahanap ng employee, palaging, almost always, must be college graduate. Dinidisregard na agad yung mga graduate ng senior high. Even parang clerk typist lang, receptionist lang, must be college graduate. This has to be changed. Na parang agad-agad, discriminated agad itong mga graduates sa senior high. Pero palagi na lang talaga, maski na yung typist lang, clerk typist, you must be a college graduate. Pag pumunta ka sa Amerika, there's no such thing na must be a college graduate. Sinasabi agad diretso kung ano yung requirement, ano yung responsibilities, ano yung experience na kailangan. Hindi naka-specify doon kung kailangan mo college graduate o hindi. Maliban na lang kung ikaw engineer, architect, or nurse. Well, of course, nakalagay doon must have license in nursing, etc. Diba? Yun yung sinasabi ko. Kung mapapansin niyo po, so therefore, 10% lang ang nakakapagtrabaho ng mga senior high after graduation. Wow! So, marami sa kanila, it's either hindi natatanggap, so dumidiretso sa college o pupunta pa sa TESDA. So bakit pa tayo meron K-12? What is the reason why we still have this K-12? Di ba para after graduate nila sa senior high, magkakaroon sila employment, makakatulong sa kanilang family, etc. etc. Dito pala, pag nag-K-12 ka, only 10% of you guys that will graduate this year will get a job. And what is the DepEd doing about this?
Para malaman, marami pong vacancies for senior high.
Okay nga, ma'am. So meron kayong ganong klaseng programa which is very good.
Po.
So meron kayong for senior high job openings, sabi niyo nga 116 were hired. What happened to those that weren't hired?
Iba po kasing qualifications kailangan college graduate. Yung dun sa vacancies, kaya hindi sila na-hire.
I thought you said yung program ninyo yung naghahanap kayo ng mga applicants for
Opo.
high school for senior high graduates.
Marami po for senior high graduates, but meron ding mga vacancies na for college.
Why don't you come up with a program exclusive lamang dun sa mga senior high graduates? How's that? To
Pwede na pong
encourage companies na mag-hire ng mga senior high graduates na para mapakinabangan naman, hindi naman masayang yung mga graduates na ito na magkakaroon ng trabaho diretso after graduation.
It's,
Like I said, 10% lamang ayon sa DepEd ang nagkakatrabaho. Whereas sa Amerika, kung titingnan niyo po yung mga classified sa Amerika, wala hong nakalagay doon must be college graduate. Wala. Dito lang sa atin sa Pilipinas Kahit na typist lang, kahit na receptionist lang, must be college graduate. Hindi nga. Kung ikaw senior high, wala, matiturn off ka. So ang
To change the educational landscape, the NTESDP 2028, 18 to 22 na pinag-usapan natin, gusto natin maayos yung susunod na 5 years. Nakakalungkot nga po na hindi natin naabot itong tinarget natin. But if there's one lesson that we have to learn from this is, if at first we do not succeed, let us find out why. Alamin po natin kung ano yung mga gumagana, ano yung hindi gumagana. Pag-isipan natin kung ano yung mga kailangan nating baguhin sa ating sistema. Buksan natin yung dialogo sa mga industriya, sa ating mga iba't ibang ahensya ng pamahalaan, sa mga trainees. And we take note of the comments of our colleagues from TESDA, DOLE, as to the concepts that can be taken into consideration in the present bill. We also wish to undertake a few suggestions, like yung review of the availment of incentives for industry partners and institutions. Again, we'd like to thank EDCOM family. It is, again, the duty of the Senate as mandated by our Constitution to promote a sustained development of a reservoir of national talents, including high-level technical manpower, skilled workers, and craftsmen in all fields. With the growing relevance of enterprise-based education and training amidst the disruptions caused by various labor trends and developments, it is imperative that the state, together with our stakeholders, work together to realize our vision of a more robust and enabling environment for skilling, upskilling, and reskilling opportunities. We will adjourn the hearing. We'll talk about it among ourselves in the Senate, whether or not we will convene a technical working group or we come up with another hearing for the 4th time. But again, we are expecting your commitments for the submission of the data that we are asking. So we adjourn this hearing, and again, thank all of you for your time today. Thank you very much.
So hanggang dito lang tayo mga tol. Maraming salamat sa panonood at patuloy na suporta. God bless you sa inyo lahat at hanggang sa muli. Paalam!